order for the. I'm going to call the meeting order at 7 p.m. for the Finance Committee. I'm going to read the following disclosure before we begin. Pursuant to Section 20 of Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2020, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, and the June 30th, 2027 extension granted by Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting for the town of Bridgewater will be fully remote and accessible to the public through remote participation to the greatest extent possible. No in-person attendance is permitted. Citizens who wish to tune into the meeting may do so via Zoom, via the address that is listed on the agenda. So now that I've called to order, I would ask, given the level of business that we have tonight and knowing that I will have to step out around 7:30 to not jeopardize the ability of us to do our work, I would entertain from anybody in the group to see if it might be possible to move our new business up.
I motion
everything else to right after that following.
Second.
I heard a motion made. That was by Mr. Knoll and seconded by Mr. Lyford.
It was actually Mark.
It was Mark.
Oh, all right, it was Mark. My apologies. I did not see the outline on the screen. All right, made by Mr. Thomas, seconded by Mr. Lyford. Josh, can you take the roll call, please?
MJ.
Aye.
Matt.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Rig.
Aye.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brute.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone. So we will be moving on to new business. I'm going to actually ask if the committee would so be desirous if we can move item A to the end of the new business and move everything up. Would that be something the group would be amenable to? I would think we could just do general consensus.
Go for it.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
That's okay, right, Josh?
Yep.
Alrighty then. So we are going to move on to item B, Order OFY 26-022, Bridgewater DPW Union AFSME, or AFSME, Local 1700 Collective Bargaining Contract Ratification. It was referred to us by the Budget and Finance Committee. And let me just get to this item here. Explanation: Town manager negotiated an agreement with the Bridgewater DPW Union, AFSME Local 1700. An affirmative vote of the council will approve the contract as presented. A concurrent transfer request will fund the appropriation thereof. So we do have the town manager with us this evening to discuss any questions or concerns we may have. I know I have a couple of questions, but I will let Mr. Casanova Davis explain everything to us before we act.
Hi, MJ. Good evening, everyone. MJ, I don't know if Lori's on here. I'm trying to do double duty. Yep, Lori and Carolyn. I'm going to let Lori and Carolyn take the wheel on this one.
Okay.
And I'll chime in as necessary. Thank you, Lori and Carolyn.
So, yes, we were able to settle this union contract. We've been in negotiations with them for some time. For AFSME, we negotiated a 1% COLA increase for July, effective July 1/25, a 1% July 1/26, and 1% in January 1 of 27, and then July 1 of 27, a 1.5% increase. So that is lower than some of the other contracts that we've put through this year, but this is where we've kind of gone back to and trying to get all of our bargaining units to be for COLA increases. We also made some changes to the vacation policy for AFSME, in which the employees no longer need to wait an entire year before they can take their vacation time. And we also reduced their vacation carryover from 2 weeks to 1 week, allowing us to reduce that liability. I think that's the meat of the AFSME one. I think the only other thing in there was a small increase to some of the licensing stipends that we feel weren't competitive within the market to what other municipalities pay for those licenses.
Yeah, and I can also just weigh in that, this group was pretty good to work with. They were very cognizant of the climate of the town. I can also tell you, I don't know if Justin had gone into it at the beginning, but we have been in negotiations all the last year or so with a lot of these unions. And on this particular group, the DPW, we actually had an offer on the table with them. You know, and the COLAs were at around 2, 2, and 2. When Justin came on board in July, and the climate of the failed override and the reduction of the 850,000, we actually went back to them. Justin went back to them, so he can probably give you a little tap on that, you know, if he wants to give you, and he'll say his thought process and all the on the contract negotiations. But they did come back and work with us for just a 1% in lieu of a 2% this year, and the numbers that Carolyn just explained and you have before you. So the actual savings from the 1%, you know, from this agreement to what we had originally been working with until the failed override, it's about, the first year was about 20 grand. Second year, 10,000, third year, another 10. So it was overall savings over the life of this 3 years of $41,000. So we did agree that giving them a little incentive on the stipends was not only good for the employees, but because they have to have certifications, especially in our water and sewer laborers. They have to have a lot of technical experience. They have to have licenses, handling tier 1, tier 2. Carolyn could probably tell you more than me, but they're all very complicated. And in order to be competitive and keep our talent, retain talent, and try to go out when we lose a laborer here and there, we felt that making this slight increase was worth it. So yeah, we feel that, you know, we worked really hard with them, and then after the climate of the override fail, we went back and said, hey, you know, we're in a different situation, and we got to pull things in, and so they were very willing to work with us for that. So I can answer any questions, or Carolyn or Justin, if anyone has any questions on this particular agreement.
Thank you, Laurie. I appreciate that. I actually did have a couple of questions. I'm not sure if the membership will probably have similar questions as well, but I had a couple after talking to a couple of folks in the community that were curious about the contract itself. In this contract for AFSCME, I see in January they have a 1% increase to base all base wages. Should it be? I've never seen this type of instance happen in a contract where there's like a 1%, and then a 1% in the same year that a 1.5% is going to happen. What was the reasoning behind making it that 1% in January instead of just making it, 1.5 for each July 1st?
Well, thank you, MJ. So we did initially offer 2% in this year, and then we scaled it back to 1%, and that's in fiscal 26. And then next year it was already, we had a 2 in there, and so instead of breaking it down to 1.5 for overall in the year, we were offering them a 1% in the first July 1st, and then another 1% in January. So overall it comes out to a 1.5. But we're trying to be creative and get them on board with that. So.
And then the other question, and it was something that I'm kind of curious of. Should we have been able to see what the step grades are for the contracts along with this material? I can't remember if we ever got that in previous instances when we got the contracts to be basically, reviewed by us. I couldn't remember. I know we've been through a couple of these processes, Laurie, so I forgive my ignorance if I can't remember. Did we ever have the step grades for the unions ever put in with these materials when we get them sent to us?
I think we typically do. We have what we call master salary tables, because one of the other things in this contract, like all the other contracts, we have maxed out the steps, so there's no more additional adding steps to any more grades. We're maxing out at 12. We feel that when someone's been in a position, they go through 12 steps, you know, that position has to max out at some point unless, you know, they move on or to another position. But there is a master salary scale for all of the unions that I'm not sure, Carolyn, are we putting that in this
No, so
contract?
I was gonna chime in on that. I don't think this has typically been, that has typically been a part of this process because we run that through the system once the contract actually gets ratified. We don't want to make the changes in our system until the contract is actually ratified. So the old contracts, I think the previous contract would have a salary matrix in it. And then this matrix didn't change with the exception of the COLA increases that we see, but I don't think we've typically included it at this point. When we have a final integrated contract, once it's ratified, then
Oh.
that will include the salary tables.
And then the last question I have, do you by chance off the top of your head, Carolyn, know where most of the members in the union stand? Are they all maxed out in their steps? And if so, is the stepping, you know, the COLA increase in addition to, or is it built into the salary at that point?
So they're not, we have very few members. I think we have 28 members, I believe, in this group, and I think we have
It's a very
two
young
that are,
group.
yeah, and they're mostly young. I think we might have 1 or 2 members that are at that step 12.
Okay.
But most of the people within this unit are newer in the steps.
Okay. And this is
What was
mostly like the labor workers and those types of employees, correct?
Yes, yes. And this has been a really challenging group to recruit for the last couple of years. We really see a lot of people moving away from the trades and this type of work and the licensing. It's really been a challenge to fill those roles. And so as Lori pointed out, that was part of the importance with getting the licensing and getting them some form of an increase here is to try and keep them in line with what our other contracts have done.
And with what other communities are paying as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we've had some difficulty trying to get some of the water operators. I know that position's been open, geez, I think we've had an opening on that position since I left the town back in 2019. So it's, you know, it's one of those things we want to try to be competitive on. And I know my questions that I've asked you now will also apply to when we get to the next contract as well. But we'll, you know, at least that if you took notes on that, we can at least have those questions be raised when they get to the question portion on that. Did anybody else in the membership have any questions regarding this agreement that's before us?
Yeah,
Mr. Higgins.
So I guess if the step isn't included in here, then what as a group can we figure is what's the overall percentage increase we're getting? And then how does this affect the other or the wage-based benefits? As I talked with Lori about this as well, you know, the retirement funds, the health insurance, all that. So I don't see that number in here at all. So if we give a 1% increase, and I assume a step increase is what, 3%? How many people are going to go?
2.5. There's 2.5 in between each step, which is in line with all of the step matrices, all the wage tables except for fire and police are a little. They're all their own. They've got another scale, but yeah, it's all 2.5%. There's 12 steps. I don't know how many grades, Carolyn. Yeah.
I think
So that's-
5. I believe
yeah.
5 grades 8 through 12.
Yeah, so with this COLA of 1% for this year and the steps for in the salary scale, so it'll be 3.5% increase for the employees.
Okay.
This does not sorry, my light went out. This does not really change the amount of the insurance or costs like that. I mean, obviously in the pension liability, we're always paying for the current staff is always paying for the staff that's retired or the people that have retired before them, right? So we play catch up with that, but with this group, they already are at 75-25 for any new employees coming on, so they're paying the higher percent of employee share, which we've been successful with all of these with all these negotiations this year to get everyone, at least the new people coming on board at the higher split, except for fire and police, I must say. But what we're actually doing is when we do cost out the cost of the contracts, we are actually putting all of the members, what their retirement, what their health insurance costs are. So, and, in fact, Justin and I had a conversation earlier about how we want to reflect the overall employee costs of an overall department, like showing it in that manner rather than here's all the town insurance, We're looking to expand, some detail as far as letting, you and the public know, what does it cost for the DPW health insurance benefits and retirement benefits? What does the insurance cost for the fire employees and the fire? So we're looking at getting that, splits for you. Historically, it's all been, budgeted in health insurance in the 919, 914 department. So, that is a new, thing we're looking to get out into detail to everyone. Excuse me.
So right, I guess as a follow-up then, Laura, you can't tell us right now that this 1% is, with the benefits or whatever. So the average increase in the employee cost would be somewhere between 5 and 8%, or is that not a fair way to summarize it?
Well, yes and no. I mean, we could collectively call it 1%, but not everybody takes health insurance and not everybody it has been vested yet. So again, it depends on the the age of the employees, the insurances they're taking. So there is a lot of factors that, we actually are tracking that now, but obviously when we update our OPEB, we have a consultant come in and he has the GASB 75 right now. That's all updated. I'd be happy to share that report with the group. I know it's a little technical, but yeah, it does give us, an average cost of, the average employee in this field or that field, because there is a lot of factors to each of the, each of the employee, whether in their longevity and so forth. So.
I'll just make one last overall point and then I'll pipe down here. So,
Sure.
because when I looked at the financials, I think the last ones we have are 2024, the unfunded employee benefits, the liability is around what, 140 million or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure off the top of my head, but yeah.
So I mean, I'm just trying to wrap my head around how the town is ever going to pay that. And so to continue to add on by giving pay raises and things like that, are we digging ourselves a hole that we just possibly just cannot get out? So that's an overall concern. That's more of a statement. I would love to hear, Justin, how you think about that.
I wanted to chime in real quick. Sorry, like I said, doing a little double duty, so I was on calls, but just hearing specifically that, there's OPEB liabilities, there's pension liabilities. We're part of a county retirement system. There's a plan for us to be fully funded on the pension side within a time frame, and I would say it's probably within ideally 10 years to get fully funded with the pension. OPEB liability, what a lot of communities that are looking at doing in the future is that liability. Communities like Bridgewater, we started allocating a small amount of funds to our OPEBs, but what the plan would be to address those liabilities is once the pension is fully funded, then we would utilize that excess funding schedule to tackle our OPEB liabilities. So that's something that a lot of communities that are in good financial situations are looking at and probably planning to do. Some maybe are not planning to do that. I think that's something we will look at and explore. Obviously, and like I said, I didn't hear what Lori and Carolyn said. One of these things, and I know people look at, the COLAs and say, are we digging ourselves in a hole? We're in a competitive market in municipalities. We had, and I'll give this as a frame of reference, we had a community that had a Prop 2.5 override fail that reduced staff, and yet in the market, in order to hire people to do the job, they were looking at over 3% COLAs. And so, is that right or not? That's an individual town decision. And how we were informed in our decision process is, one, we have a forecast. We take a look at our forecast. We look at what we're able to afford. Well, we look at what's financially sustainable for the town. We look at our comparable communities, and I think that's what guided us in these collective bargaining agreements. I'm sure Carolyn or Lori mentioned that town council did approve some other agreements before I got on board where they were higher COLAs, and we revisited with our groups. We advocated why we thought it was better to be a little bit lower. So that's the approach we took this year, and it was a collaborative approach where we felt like we gave a fair compensation schedule, where it keeps us competitive in the market, where we are having difficulties hiring people, and it's a financially what we determine as a fiscally sustainable collective bargaining agreement. So that's my quick summary of that. Sorry if I repeated anything.
No, that was very helpful, Justin. Thank you very much. Were there any other questions or concerns from members?
I got just a couple of questions, Madam Chair.
Sure thing,
Yeah.
Mr. Leckford.
So just a question on the Article 25 wages. So there's an agreement in there that there's no reduction in force. I was just wondering what the parameters of that agreement are. Is that for the life of this contract? Is that based on the shortfall that we had this fiscal year? And then just a follow-up question, is that kind of how you got around reducing the across the boards without catching a charge for regressive bargaining?
Sure. So yeah, we went back to this group. As Laurie had said, we were deep into negotiations with this group where we had kind of landed on wages, and we were just going back on a few language changes. We were at 2, and 2, and we went back to them after the failed override, and and we had this budget shortfall, and this only allows us to not reduce in regards to that $849,000 budget shortfall. If we were to lose any other kind of funding this year, we are still able, we still have that flexibility if we needed to make adjustments to hours or staff at that time. So it is just in regards to that $849,000 budget shortfall due to the failed override and the adjusted school budget.
And then just one other follow-up question. So the vacation language, and I'm not looking at the prior packets, but it's this pattern language. It looks similar to the agreements that we reviewed earlier, right? So town kind of making a conscious effort to unify the vacation language.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Trying to get everybody on the same way of calculating vacation, carryover, all of that, just to have consistency across all the unions.
Awesome. Thank you.
And I'm just quickly chiming. I'm sure, like I said, sorry for repeating some things here. I'm sure Lori and Carolyn gave you a synopsis. What we wanted to look at too was not only the short term of these contracts, but the long term. So we were very strategic about that. The 75-25% health insurance share is really important to us. I think AFSCME had that in their collective bargaining agreement beforehand, but the other major component of it, and once again, it's collaboration with all our union groups, is reducing the vacation carryover liability. Were really important to us because that does have a pretty large liability for the town when you allow a significant amount of vacation time carrying over. So for us, that was really important.
Thank you, Justin. I noticed that it is 7:25. I unfortunately do have another type of commitment that I have to go to. I do see we still have quorum for the meeting, so I will be handing this over to the vice chair. Dr. Bennett, are you here? Derek, you're on mute. Okay, since I cannot get him to respond, Josh, who will be the next person I can hand this over to for the remainder of the time?
Well, we won't be in quorum if Derek's not here.
Okay. Derek, if you could let us know you're still here.
You want me to try to give him a call?
If you would be so kind. I apologize. I usually don't have to do this, but unfortunately I had something that was previously scheduled and
He just turned video on.
good. All right.
Derek, can you hear us? Oh, all right, let me try to give him a call.
Hello?
Oh, there we go.
Hello?
All right,
I can
Derek.
barely hear you.
Okay. So I need to step out of the meeting because I had a prior item that was scheduled for tonight. Would you be able to step in and continue the meeting?
I will see what I can do.
Okay.
Just give me
Um,
just a moment.
Because what I could do right now is probably put this on mute, step away from my screen, still keep it open, and well, I don't know if that would be any issue with the open meeting law. But I'd still be present in the meeting.
Could we take a vote on this item if there are no additional questions?
I wouldn't see an issue with it. Josh, well, before we do, we gotta have somebody make a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Motion made by Mr. Lightfoot to approve, seconded by Mr. Knoll. Do I have a roll call vote, please?
MJ,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Rig,
aye.
Derek. All right. The motion was approved.
Alrighty. Thank you, everyone. What I can do is, at least I still have a couple minutes. Now, obviously that we've approved the contract, we now have the appropriation item, which would be, let's scroll down here quickly. All right. The appropriation order OFY 26-023 Bridgewater DPW Union AFSCME Local 1700 collective contract appropriation transfer. And this would be the settlement of the DPW AFSCME Local 1700 contract for FY 26 through 28. You see the appropriation line items from general fund wages, water retained earnings, sewer retained earnings, and the total amount of $40,000 to be transferred over to the following accounts for salaries for highway, salaries recreation, salaries water, salaries sewer. In this type of situation, for those that are, the first time being on the committee, when you approve of one, you usually have to approve the other. So this would be pretty much a straight question. So if anybody has any questions or concerns, I will open it up to folks.
If there are no questions or concerns, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve.
Motion made by Mr. Knoll. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Lightfoot. Josh, can you take the roll call, please?
MJ,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Rig,
Aye.
Derek.
Aye.
The motion was approved.
Alrighty, thank you, everyone. We will now move on to the next one, Order OFY 26-024, Bridgewater Public Library Staff Association Collective Bargaining Contract Ratification. The explanation for this is the town manager has negotiated an agreement with the Bridgewater Public Library Staff Association. An affirmative vote of the council will approve the contract as presented. A concurrent transfer request will fund the appropriation thereof. So I know we've all read the material. For this, I would certainly open it up to Laurie or Carolyn to explain the particulars of this, keeping in mind some of the questions I had asked earlier, similar questions I do have for this one as well. So my questions would have been the percent increase, the intermediate time frame, and then the other issues with the steps and grades, but I think the answers are pretty much straightforward.
Sure. So, just as we were saying with the AFSCME contract, this group, we had been in negotiations for a considerable amount of time. Their previous contract actually expired June 30th of 24. So we had really been deep into negotiations with them as well. We went back to this group and offered them, you know, a 2% in FY25, which is similar to same as what we did for other groups. A 1% July 1 of 25, 1% of July 1 of 26, and then effective January 1 of 27, sorry, another 1%. So again, it was the 2% in the first year, 1%, then a 1-1 split. And that just saves us the 1% over the six months. It just gives us a little bit of flexibility, but it is a 1.5% over that last year of the contract. Some other highlights in this contract: this was a group that was still at 80-20 with the health insurance, and we got them to the 75-25 for new hires. That was something that was really important to us. And then, as similar as you saw in some of the other contracts, getting them on the same vacation kind of language as the other contracts and reducing that liability by reducing the carryover by 1 week. So very, very similar to all the other contracts that we've seen.
Thank you, Carolyn. Do any members have any questions?
Madam Chair, I do have a question.
Sure, Mr. Knoll, what you got for us?
So I was looking at the vacation time. While it's similar in nature, 1 to 5 year service, they get an extra 3-week vacation. Is that an oversight or an error?
No, that has actually been in place for this group for quite some time. So we didn't increase it. They have for a number of years gotten 3 weeks within that first time period. And one thing with this group that it probably is worth noting is that part of their rotation and their schedule is a Saturday. There's Saturday rotations and Saturday hours. So my guess is that at some point in time, that was kind of the incentive to have that additional vacation time where they do work Saturdays, and that can kind of bleed into where a lot of family events and things happen. So we didn't increase their vacation time at all. That's been there, but I would think that might be a reason that this group is a little bit different.
Yeah, and it is a smaller group too. There's only I think nine members, and 6 of them are full-time. So yeah, the other 3 are part-time.
Thank you. That does make sense.
Sorry to interrupt. I do have to step out. Josh, can I keep my connection open and still vote if I'm just off to the side?
It's a little sketchy. I would say no.
Yeah.
Just because you are away, and there's discussion going on. So I would, just to err on the safe side, I would say just step away.
Okay.
When you can fully be back. And in the meantime, we'll get Derek I'll help Derek run the meeting.
Alrighty, I'm going to step away. I will still keep my screen on so I can at least still hear what you guys are talking about. But I am in another part of the room. All right. Derek, you all set to handle stuff?
He's muted. He nodded.
Okay.
I'll help him through it.
Alrighty, thank you, Josh. If I can get back momentarily, I will. All right.
Okay. Well, I believe we were still opening it up to questions. Did anybody else have anything?
All right, I should be back.
Yep, we hear you, Derek.
Okay, fabulous.
And Derek, so we opened it up for questions. It doesn't look
Yep.
like anybody else has any additional questions. If you want to ask for a motion.
Could I have a motion for approval?
A motion
Motion
for
to
approval.
Second?
Second.
Was seconded. All in, roll call?
Matt,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Aye.
Mark, Rig,
Aye.
Derek.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Okay, moving forward. Thank you, everyone. Just give me one moment. Again, I'm using a new phone here, so this is kind of a new thing. We were on, we did public library.
Yep. So we're on order 0 FY26, 025 Bridgewater Public Library Staff Association Collective Contract Appropriation Transfer.
Thank you. Could you give a little overview just for folks who may be watching?
Sure, so this order is the funding source for the increase that was and the agreement that was just voted on. So hold on. I don't have the order in front of me.
It's for $12,543.
Okay. Thanks, John. So yeah, this will fund the contract for the year that has already passed and the current year in fiscal 26 currently.
Okay. Are there any questions from members?
No.
No question.
I'd like to entertain a motion for approval.
We have a motion for approval. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote.
Matt,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Rig,
Aye.
Derek.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Okay, thank you. Just checking the agenda again.
So Derek, there's nothing under new business. However, the minutes did not get approved. If we could just jump back to that and get that taken care of.
Certainly. Could we have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call. Roll call.
We lost you, Josh. We can't hear you.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
We're back.
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Rig,
Aye.
Derek.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Any further old business? I'm sorry. Any further business to bring up or discuss?
The only other item was the meeting schedule. So MJ did just want the committee to consider or reconsider if Monday nights at 7 p.m. were still good for everyone.
I do find, speaking for myself, Monday nights are a little bit clunky on some occasions because I'll have the Friends of the Library Executive Board meetings just before. So like tonight, you may have seen a little bit of me driving over. So otherwise, in most cases, it should work out, but there may be sometimes I may be running a little bit behind.
Yeah, I know Monday night's the only night of the week I'd be able to participate.
Okay. And again, yeah, on my end, it's not every Monday night. It's just one Monday a month. We have the executive board on Monday night, so should be all right.
Rig, John, any opinion on that?
Mondays are good for me. The rest of the week gets rather hectic for me as well. So if we could keep it Mondays, it'd be good for me.
Okay.
I'm fine with keeping it Monday as well. I would even be open if we were to move it up 30 minutes before, but 7 o'clock works fine.
Okay. And Mark,
Yes.
are you good with
It's-
Mondays at 7?
Yeah, it'll work. My Park and Rec is gonna move back to the first Monday of the month for meetings, so I could run into some issues there, but it's not worth it. If it's more convenient for everybody else on Monday, we'll keep it there.
Okay.
I don't recommend going any earlier than 7 or else I can't make it because sometimes I can get those meetings over in an hour.
Okay.
But, we'll keep it Mondays.
All right. Well, considering Derek said that, he has it once a month too, and he might be a little bit late. I think 7 works for everybody. So we'll continue to have it. I mean, they're not, they usually just follow the town council meetings. So, we probably won't see a meeting posting until, October 13th, which might be a
Okay.
holiday.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, so it'd probably be, October 20th.
Yeah, that's fine.
That sounds perfect.
Okay. Well, that's all the new business and
Excellent. All right, with
like to-
that,
I'd like to
Go ahead.
entertain a motion to adjourn.
okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second,
Roll call?
Matt,
aye.
John.
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Rig,
Aye.
Derek.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion was approved. The meeting's adjourned.
Thank you,
Fantastic.
everyone. Have a great
All
evening.
right. Have a
everyone.
good night,
Take care,
everyone.
Thank
guys.
you, everyone.
Thank
Take
you.
care.